everybody, it's Linda with our Man About Town.
Good morning,
Sterling,
everybody.
how you doing, my friend? Did you have a decent week?
Yeah, a busy week, but they're productive even during these pandemic times. So it's
Oh,
good, good. How about you?
I went through some exposure, like I told you about reading John Lewis and Martin Luther King. Absolute devastation, feeling everything they felt, but it's energetically, while I was in that sadness, I heard something so profound and so it made sense, and it felt like they had completed their cause and now
You're
they're
right.
standing with the master. So
Absolutely.
anyway, but listen, I just want to bring up to everybody something really cool. One of our fans brought up, I don't like to call them friends, friend brought up, saying that the CDC did this announcement. I think it was on Twitter. And I read it, and the CDC talked about 2 hairdressers in Missouri who both were sick with COVID, but they wore masks. And they saw a total like 132 clients. They went back and tested all those clients. Not one of them was sick with COVID. And they wore masks. So wear the mask, you guys.
Yeah, they've definitely proven it cuts back the spread at least 50%.
Yes.
So they know that it is effective. Yeah.
That's great. And, you know, probably dealing with chemicals and stuff, maybe that even, it just didn't let it spread like it normally with other things. Okay, so we have the questions thanks to your wife, Linda,
Right.
and to our man about town, Dan.
Right.
And thank you guys. A lot of you did listen to this, and you go to the community section. And when I say Sterling's coming up, we had over 600 questions.
Wow. Okay.
So people have questions. Question number 1, from the other side, can you tell us if Edgar Casey has any messages for us?
I can, you know, this past week, he's actually come through 3 times very nicely. Yeah, very, very nice. And he also says he's going to come around you too, Linda. So
he does quite often, but not in a long time though, which is interesting.
Yeah, because what he said was a couple of things, said like 3 major things to me. He said, first off, he's going to come around a lot of the psychics working on the planet right now to try to facilitate and help the psychics, you know, help other people. So he's going to help from the other side. The second thing he said was he's very proud of the fact that right now in this time period on Earth that, you know, psychic and clairvoyant and spirituality is so much more recognized and accepted than it was when he was around. So it's very difficult when he was around, but he understands that was part of his purpose. The third thing he wanted everybody to know is that the pandemic was actually forecasted a long time ago, this pandemic we're going through. He said actually in his readings that came through, and he's also giving credit to Nostradamus. So I thought that was interesting. So he said this is all part of the plan. He wanted to reinforce that it wasn't just him, he's also giving credit to Nostradamus for having the same prediction.
For this particular, because there's been pandemics before.
This COVID-19 pandemic in 2020.
Okay.
So a couple things, but he did want to say, I'm going to come around you, Linda, too. So I said, I'm sure she's gonna love it.
He has got the most beautiful blue eyes. I see his gorgeous blue eyes.
A very nice guy, very gentle energy. Yeah.
Yes, very gentle. Okay, who will be the next president of the United States? Electoral college versus popular vote.
Absolutely, Joe Biden. And Joe Biden will win the electoral college and the popular vote. And I see it every time I look at it, it's by at least 15 points. And you're even seeing some of the polls right now.
They're saying 15.
11 to 15, right? So my guide said a while back and even this week that at least 15 points. So
awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Federal Emergency Management Agency that handles national disaster has started hiring a hiring freeze. No, started hiring a hiring frenzy. Why?
Yeah. You know, there's a number of natural disasters that are on the horizon that no matter how you kind of forecast things, that they look pretty credible. So there are a number of major earthquakes that we're going to experience, along with a number of floods. And the agency has actually recognized they're completely understaffed through the last couple of disasters they went through. So it wasn't hard for them to say, look, we don't even have half the size of the team we need. So that's why they're staffing up right now.
Is Trump, I guess Trump's okaying this, right? You know how he is.
He is, yeah, because it's kind of it's working a little bit below the radar. So it's not, it's not something he had to approve.
Oh, good. Congress probably gave the money. Will Fossey survive Trump's bully wrath?
100%. Because what I still see, and I saw this a long time ago, he's the North Star. So a lot of people on this planet and the other side are actually holding him up as the North Star of guidance in this whole pandemic. So that's something that Trump won't be able to overcome. I think.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think you saw that a couple of weeks ago, that I think Trump, I mean, for a solid month, did not involve Fauci in any of the meetings.
Yes.
And then there was a bit of an uproar. So now they're making him part of all the meetings again. So.
Well, I think Trump's numbers are so bad with this. Biden is like 70%, Trump's 30 something with
Right.
this pandemic. And if we were to also do a poll on Fossey versus Trump, Fossey would win.
Absolutely, yeah.
Will governors DeSantis and Kemp be reelected?
And that's Florida and Georgia. No, and one of the biggest reasons for that is the way that the whole pandemic was handled. It's kind of hard for anybody to put a good spin on everything that's gone on, especially in Florida. Yeah.
Okay.
You and I talked about this weeks ago. We saw at the very least Texas and Florida were going to go through the roof, and of course now we see Georgia.
Yes. Okay. And also, when will we have a non-fossil fuel energy source nationally?
The first fuels, the first, like I'll call it biofuels and alternative fuels. For me, a lot of it's going to be centered around algae. So the production of algae. I mean, it feels to me like in 8 to 10 years, better than 25% of our transportation system will be powered by algae. So there's been some big developments around how you grow algae and how you use algae for energy and fuel. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
I have to ask my son, he keeps up with that news. What is the future outcome for Bill Gates and his wife, Melania?
Or Melinda, I think it is, yeah.
Oh, Melinda, sorry. Melania, that's true. Sorry, you guys.
It was a Freudian slip. I think you have Trump on the mind, yeah. I see him still playing a very active role going forward in getting the whole the vaccine, helping get the vaccine developed. I see him pulling forward a lot of the breakthroughs we're going to have around the blueprint of COVID-19 from a remote part of the world. Could be around the elephants we talked about last week. And I see him really supporting the 4 major manufacturers that'll bring the vaccine to market. The one we get hundreds of millions of doses next August. So I do see him playing a very vital role. Yeah.
Okay, cool. To help the whole world then.
Absolutely, yeah.
What were the Egyptian pyramids built for?
A couple things, they actually appear around the world, but I think whoever asked that question was asking about the Egyptian pyramids, but there are pyramids around the world. A couple things, they were used for navigation from space, so it actually points to navigation. The other thing is that they have a property that makes them able to store energy like a battery. So there were some things being done by our extraterrestrial friends that were helping to store and create energy. So they're a bit of a dual purpose, batteries and navigation is the primary thing.
Wow.
And then also they were utilized as tombs in the bottom layers and things. So but the primary purpose, navigation and energy storage, like a battery.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
I think I've heard this before by someone else too, years ago. Okay, Tom Palladino is promoting Nikola Tesla's solar energy generator for promoting physical health, which Tesla had discovered as a better energy source than electricity. it is believed that the aliens may have helped Tesla. Any validity to this claim? If so, could this help us with the COVID infections? Question mark.
That person wins the prize this week for the longest question, but it's a good question. And that all centers on Tesla's development discovery of scalar energy. It was scalar energy. But that was something that was, aliens helped them develop it. So this is alien technology that actually scientists know about. It only works in a vacuum, so it works in space. So this is something that, I guess the question was also about, will this scalar energy work with healing COVID-19? I don't see that. I don't see it as a healing energy right now, but it's a technology that Tesla was all about, actually transmitting energy and power without wires. So that's all real. It came from the aliens. And then the last part of the question is, I don't see that affecting COVID-19 right now, being a healing device. No.
Right. What's going on in Portland? Why are protesters being pulled off the street in unmarked cars? Will this be stopped, and will they face consequences?
Interestingly enough, this has actually been all over the news, as you've probably seen too, but
Yes.
but my guides were saying very early on, this is something that the Trump administration is behind in order to kind of stifle and scare people that are protesting. So first and foremost, what I feel they're doing is they're doing like their beta test in Portland, like, will this work? Does it scare people, kind of a thing?
Yes.
The other thing that my guides are telling me, I don't think it's been public, is that ICE is involved in this as well. So once they take people in, if they're here illegally, there's something going on where they try to actually ship them back to their country.
Oh,
so
wow.
the whole thing going on, kind of a dual threat, the way they're trying to scare people. So that's what it's about. Yeah. So.
Wow. And will this be stopped? Probably, yeah, as soon as Trump is out.
Yeah, I know it'll be stopped, and it is not going to be very successful. And in fact, it's got so much notoriety in the media that it's almost like, as they say, the jig's up. So you can't just do it in secret anymore.
That's what I said on my last reading. I said that basically there's too much exposure now. Barr's behind this too.
Yes, yeah.
How long will the Lincoln Project continue to support Biden?
Up through the election. So, I mean, their number one goal right now is just to make sure that 45 doesn't get back in the White House, obviously. But once that threat's over, then they'll shift gears back to business as usual. So they get back to supporting the Republican cause. Absolutely. Yeah.
Probably picking up better Republicans, because the Republicans are going to change where we might even find them attractive, but it's down the road.
Yeah.
Okay, will President Obama be playing more of a visible role in the future?
Yes, and he already has. It's interesting enough. So, he's just ramping up now a lot of the very public things he's going to be doing to support the party. And I'll still tell you, it's a wild card for me who the vice presidential pick is. And so, I think there's still somewhat of a horse race going on with the VP selection. But it would not surprise me if in the end, Michelle Obama has a role in it. So we'll see how all this works out.
With picking the person or being the VP?
The person, and even possibly being the VP pick. So,
I wouldn't doubt if Biden wants her.
Yeah, and I think it's still a lot of discussions going on behind the scenes, and I think they're weighing how much benefit it could be to the nation. So
awesome. Do aliens have the ability to heal human illnesses?
They do. So a point of clarification there, they have the ability and the technology, but don't get involved on a person-to-person level per se. So their charter is really to kind of help mankind. So where they can. So it's kind of supplying the right information to doctors and the Teslas of the world, like Nicholas Teslas of the world, to say, look, here's how you go about it. But they don't get involved one-on-one. That's the clarity.
Okay. Will McConnell be able to put another conservative on the Supreme Court before Trumpy is gone?
No, because I don't see Yeah, I don't see there being a vacancy created by,
Right.
passing or death or otherwise. So no, will not be, no.
So thank you. Basically, you're saying you do not see Ginsburg having to go.
She's here. She's here to stay. So she's
I
going to,
feel her leaving on her own, giving
right.
her notice and being able to step down after he's gone.
Yeah, I really feel like even what she's going through right now will go back into a stage of somewhat remission. So
Mhm.
in a holding pattern. Yeah. So in terms of the disease and the things she's working on right now. So
This is my own question off of this. Do you feel that she is determined to stay? Had she had this and we had Hillary in office, let's say, she might have said, you know what, I'm going to take care of myself. Go ahead and get someone else. Do you think she's staying because she fears this president?
absolutely. And that's where, free will plays a very important part in everybody's life, right?
Right.
So big free will factor there, what she's saying, I'm staying to the end to make sure that everybody's okay.
And my guides have always assured me, don't worry, she won't go. Because let me tell you something. If something happened to her 2 days before the new president is McConnell would figure out a way
Yeah.
to cram somebody or try to.
You won't have that opportunity. Plus, by the way, you have your good luck charm on your cadenza, right? Your Ruth Bader Ginsburg doll on your cadenza.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. She's there. My friend Mark Rhodes gave that to me. He's
Right.
such a doll. Okay. Can an animal soul be reincarnated into a human body? That's different.
Very, very popular myth that's carried forward by a lot of people, but the answer is no. So people are people spirits, animals are animal spirits. I think the only place where that has some validity is when you get back to some of the Indian tribes. So there's some crossing up there of some Indian spirits with some animals, wolves and things.
Yes.
But by and large, people are people spirits and animals are animal spirits. The only exception I've seen is somewhere on Indian tribes, and that
Right.
you would have more knowledge in that area than I do. But
Right. And they may just be able to disconnect and go into that body and learn that experience for a moment.
that would make sense to me because I still,
Go ahead.
right, because I still see that animals are animals, people people are people, so they don't cross. Yeah.
We had a dear Apache friend, a grandmother, definitely old school native. And she sat and told us about, they all smoked that peyote.
Hmm.
So they had great visions of the great eagle flying into the fire. It was really fascinating, but it was all also hallucinogenics.
Right, right. Yes.
Has the Trump or his administration given American secrets to Putin or any other world leader?
Yes, unfortunately, the answer is yes, and they were for favors. And one of the favors that I picked up here is that almost a place to hide. So when the end comes, if Trump needs a place to exile or to hide in another country, that some of those favors will be called upon. So the secrets he exchanged for longer term favors, it's happened. Yeah,
Okay.
it has happened. Yeah.
Has Trump or his administration given Americans, oh wait, I just read that. Will there be consequences for the bounties on our troops? That's a good one.
There will be, but that's a year off for me. So that's like not until the Biden administration gets in, and then there's probably a dozen investigations that are launched around all the Russian interaction and the deals that were made. So the answer is yes, but it's for me.
It's
It's
not
like
right
a year
now.
off. Yeah, you're off. Yeah.
Will Black Hills be returned to the Lakota peoples?
That's a good question around your ancestors too, right? Well, that's the Sioux Nation. The Sioux Nation there. The answer to that is a definite yes. Believe it
I
or
heard
not.
that too.
Yeah, it's a definite yes. But it still feels like that's about 10 years off before it's fully baked. So like lots of litigation still to continue, but by 10 years out, it does come back to the Sioux Nation. It does. Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually, there was, I forget, and I think everybody's still working off of something that happened in the early 80s, like 1980s, when the last agreement was done between the federal government and the Sioux Nation. But anyway, they're telling me it's going to happen in 10 years.
Awesome. Thank you. Will the Biden administration come down hard on all the corrupt individuals in the Trump administration, or will he give them a slap on the wrist?
So it definitely won't be a slap on the wrist. There'll be a lot of litigation, a lot of lawsuits, a lot of asset seizure. I don't see a lot of jail time, unfortunately, because it looks like there might be a little bit of jail time, but yeah, just a lot of litigation and people becoming very poor, all these litigants, because of all the asset seizure and the money comes back and the property gets sold. Yeah, so yeah.
I do see Jared going to jail. I've always seen him going to jail.
I
Okay,
he will serve a short time, by the way, a short time, and
okay,
then his lawyers will get him out like after 6 months or something. So
okay. Is Mount Shasta a portal? What's going on there?
one of many on Earth, and it's so that it's an energy portal that almost serves like an on ramp and an off ramp for people coming from extraterrestrial. So it's an energy vortex, and it functions almost like an on ramp and an off ramp for our alien friends. Yeah.
Have you been there?
I've flown it over it many times. Yeah, but have not
I have
been to
never
the
been.
mountains of it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, when we pass over death, do we still enjoy many of the fun things we did in our lives, such as dinners, concerts, traveling, etc.?
Yes, because when you get to the other side, thought creates matter, and thought, energy becomes, your existence. So you think it, you're doing it. So I know if you know about it, it's like even with transporting the other side. If you think you want to be from here to Boston, you're there in an instant.
Right.
Or now you want to be in a drive-in theater, you're there in an instant. So
Right, and it depends on the vibrational level you landed on too. There's
very
different levels. But I can even see family members who are crossed over cooking certain types of food.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I'll tell my client, oh, your grandmother's cooking, but was she a good cook? Because she's showing us she liked to feed people, even though they don't eat over there technically.
Right, right.
Mary Trump's book, is she telling the truth?
What I get on that is absolutely, and it was actually developed over a good 10-year span here, and it actually is also coupled with her her medical background. So I think she's a psychologist or psychiatrist or whatnot.
Yes,
But it was like a 10-year study.
PhD.
Yeah, yeah. So absolutely, yeah. And by the
How?
way,
Oh, go
my
ahead.
guide said even her diagnosis is accurate. So coming from the diagnosis she gave is actually professional diagnosis. So.
Is she actually hurting Trump? I always heard yes, that she actually, I feel him very disappointed.
Yes, but for me, I see all these as extra, what I'll call nails in the coffin. So another nail, another nail, another nail. He's a fighter. He's a fighter. So almost a scrappy street fighter.
Right.
So.
And how will spiritual teachings and people be viewed in the next 5 years? Will the group grow in numbers and gain more credibility?
Absolutely, because that also goes along with our discussions about the shift that's occurring with a lot of people are becoming more enlightened and talking to their own spiritual guides and living on a better energy plane, so to speak. So yes, absolutely, all that's going to be very well respected. I think that was the question, right?
Yes. Will Trump be successful in suppressing and altering the COVID data for political purpose?
No, and the reason is that the data is actually spread through too many state and federal agencies as well as media. So you can't plug up all that many holes in the dam, so to speak. All the data is out there. I think even Florida tried to cook the books for a while, and even they got called on it.
They got caught.
For a number of weeks, Florida was trying to cook the books. I think we had a show on that. We talked about that, and all the data is out there. You can't hide it.
What I felt was someone asked me that too, and I felt even though he said the CDC bypass them and give it straight to us so he could cook the books, I felt that the hospitals were sure they're going to send it to him, but they're sending a CC to the CDC too.
Yeah, I heard there were like a dozen sources that have the data.
Yes.
So,
do Palladians really exist and communicate with us?
Absolutely. They've been around for thousands of years. They come from Pleiades, and absolutely. So they're visiting, they're communicating with us, they're helping. They're all part of the extended family. Yeah.
Are the alien star people aware of the COVID-19 infecting and killing the human species at this time? And will the US government ask them for help to find a cure?
So I'll take the latter part of that first. I don't see the U.S. government getting directly involved, but I do see that the aliens are already trying to help where they can. And I think, going back to the elephants in Rwanda, I think it
Yeah.
is. I think there's some things going on there regarding alien activity and what they're helping. Not that the aliens are creating the death of the elephants, but they're actually helping intercede and help mankind come up with
That.
blueprint, COVID-19.
Okay. So this next question is the same thing we just answered about Ruth Gator Ginsburg.
Okay.
That it will, and we know she'll hang on. So I wanted to ask you something really quick.
Sure.
Trump wants to cut billions from the post office, slowing them down. Is he going to be successful at that?
No, and the good news is he's on such a short runway right now that it won't have that big an effect if he tries to do that. But I'll tell you, I still see, for whatever reason, Jeff Bezos getting involved down the road with some sort of a post office interaction. I don't know what this is, but it might even be a carve out where, like, we're subsidizing the post office, 1/3 of the budget or whatever this is, and then we get preferential treatment. So it's kind of like, they pay for the post office, and they, so there's a way for the post office to sustain and make money.
I often felt Jeff Bezos was going to say, you know what, I'm going to give this money separate, not going to Congress, because he'll grab it. Trump will grab it.
Right.
But somehow he's going to help the post office stay afloat until we get our new administration.
And if he buys FedEx, I won't be surprised.
Okay. Do you see anything coming up for the next week?
Many more significant Republicans, I want to say jumping ship, but what I will say is that doing op-eds and coming out in public and putting a distance between themselves and Trump in terms of, look, this is why we can't stand with him anymore. This is where we have to stand. Many more op-eds. There'll be some op-eds and some very public announcements and speeches. Yeah.
Good. And do you have any information that your guys want to share? Any last information?
Absolutely. So again, these messages come out more simplistic, but it's take time to connect with the universe in any way that it works for you. So even if that's through meditation, it's through prayer, it's through your imagination, whatever it is, like, take time to connect with the universe, and then take that energy and that knowledge and help push it forward kind of in your life and other lives. So the core messages there, make sure you kind of become part of, as one of the universe.
Right. I like to put my feet on the ground.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, thank you, my dear.
Sure, a pleasure.
It was a pleasure, and we'll be catching you this time next week. If you are busy or something, be sure to let me know.
It's all the same bat time, same bat channel.
Same bat, folks.
Exactly.
Well, everybody absolutely loves you.
I love it. Thanks for all the support. It's a lot of fun.
Bye, you guys.
Take care.
Cheers.